So now you're looking at Chubb, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, one of 5 quarterbacks possibly.
They want it to be, it has to be Watson with the money they've given him.
And they've actually, by adding, I think a lot of people are going to dismiss the Nyheim Hines signing. That is going to give Chubb a bit of a break every now and again, which he is desperately going to need.
Welcome to Six Rings and Counting. I am going to be your host today, Lou Willard. Clearly, you know, we're missing our head coach, our quarterback, our leader, Corey Idle, who is unfortunately out today as he has tested positive for COVID. So we wish him a fast, speedy recovery and hopes he gets a shoulder up on the 2 count. But as they say in showbiz, the show must go on. So we are going to do the best we can. So excuse my imperfections today, but we are going to provide you a show and we'll get Corey back in the fold next week. We do want to start out with the Steelers preseason. And the third preseason game actually looked really good for the Steelers. And that led to a lot of questions. They got the ball, went down the field, they scored, jumped up 14-0. All of that stuff looked really great. End up losing the game, but that's irrelevant because it is the preseason. But what we were all looking for as Steelers fans is some progress offensively. And we did have that even with no Jaylen Warren. So it led to a few questions. When will Jaylen Warren be back? Well, with Cordero Patterson breaking off a 31-yard touchdown run, that hamstring will feel a whole lot better really fast. But no, seriously, he did say he's going to play week 1, which we all knew, and they were going to hold him out anyway. Jaylen Warren, no fear, Steelers fans, is still going to be a major, major part of the offense. The offensive line, which we can get to. Matter of fact, you know what? We will get through it. Let's get to the elephant in the room. It's the quarterback position. The starting quarterback will be named later this week, but we all know it's going to be Russell Wilson. And there's a few reasons why. Mike Tomlin is a stickler for calm. He needs experienced leaders. We know Justin Fields is entering his 4th year, and that's okay. But he does not have that Super Bowl experience that Russell Wilson does. So when you're starting 3 new linemen, to go back to what I had mentioned before, when you're starting 3 new linemen, yes, Broderick Jones, I'm considering him new because he's moving sides. And then you're going to have Zach Frazier at center, and hopefully Troy can start on the right side. If not, then there'll be 2 new linemen because Broderick will have to go back to the right side. But ultimately, they want Broderick at the left, Troy at the right, and Zach at the center. Our guards are solid with Suamalu and the great James Daniels. They are solid right there. So what they need from the quarterback position, which Russ has proven he can do, is bring that calming factor, get guys in position, get the team into the right play, and just calm everything down. Because keep in mind, the receiving room is not great. You're getting Roman Wilson back, but you have Scotty Miller, Van Jefferson, and of course we have George Pickens. So George Pickens is your guy, along with Freiermuth, Hayward, and Washington at tight end spots. But nonetheless, come on now, be honest. We're all Steelers fans here. That is man, if you go to rate that receiving room, if you go Pickens, Wilson, Calvin Austin, Jefferson, Scotty Miller, they're the bottom half of the league. Easy. So what my opinion is Tomlin is looking for somebody that can steady the ship. Now, with that being said, when you go to steady the ship, Russell Wilson's leash is going to be short. And there's two reasons right out the gate. Number one, they go to Atlanta. Atlanta picked up Justin Simmons at safety and Matthew Judon from the Patriots. They picked up two starters to shore that defense up. But more importantly, that's Arthur Smith returning to the team that he was the head coach of who fired him last year. So they need to win that game. But that being said, with all the new additions that the Steelers have, the Falcons have as well. New coaching staff, some new players that's going to be playing right out the gate and have very important roles. So it comes down to the better coach, which I give that edge to Mike Tomlin over Morris in Atlanta. But the game is in Atlanta, which Steelers travel very well, but the game is still in Atlanta. But Pittsburgh needs to win that game. Number two, Russell Wilson goes back to Denver in week 2. Denver has cut Tim Patrick as of yesterday, They have a rookie quarterback starting. They have an unproven running back situation. And who are the lead wide receivers? And they're also giving your quarterback $36 million to play against them. So the Steelers have to start this season 2-0. They have to start 2-0. Or for a few reasons. Number one, because of the things I mentioned, the stability out of the quarterback spot. Russ is not going to turn the ball over. He's going to take too many sacks. We get that. He's going to give you a little mobility. Not what Justin Fields will give you. He's damn near 10 years younger. But nonetheless, he's going to give you some ability to get out of the pocket, but he's going to take too many sacks. But most importantly, he's not going to turn that ball over. But when they go into those two places to start the season, they're already waiting on the Steelers. It's almost like the NFL set the Steelers up for this. Atlanta is waiting to prove the coach that they fired wrong, that he can't score, that their team can't be productive on offense, that he should have used B. John Robinson more, which he should have, but he didn't. Now he's ours. So hopefully he can get it right. And then as they go to Denver, Denver's going to do what? Try to prove that they gave him $36 million to go away. Why? Because he's that bad. Now, that's a two-way street. Russ has a lot to prove by going out there as well. So he's going to be the starter. And I could come on this show next week and eat crow if they name Justin Fields the starter. But in my opinion, that's just simply not going to happen because we need this stability and everything like we talked about. Therefore, Russ is going to go out there with a chip on his shoulder. Right out the gate. Arthur Smith is starting with a chip on his shoulder week 1. Russ has a chip on his shoulder week 2. Tomlin knows it. We need this stability, and everything's going to be okay, especially with this young offensive line at the tackle positions, which I predict it'll be if Troy can come back. When you go back to the preseason, the defense is Steeler football. It's Steeler football, guys. We look good. The defense, don't worry about the points against the backups, even though the Steelers' offense looked really good against the backups of Detroit. But the more concerning thing would be what if they did not look good against the backups against Detroit? They looked amazing, went right down the field, boom. So teams against the Steelers starters did not look very good. I tell you what, the Steelers have a problem on their hands. They have 3 really good rushers. How do you get Herbig on the field? Only thing this guy did in 3 preseason games was have 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. And he's your 3rd rusher. He's your third rusher. This defense is in a great position. Benny Bishop did not help himself by getting hurt. You notice he did not get in until the second half of the Detroit game. And they asked Mike Tomlin why. He said because you can't make the club from the tub. So clearly they were not going to cut him, but he was going to be the starting slot corner, but he's kind of fell behind because he got hurt. Injuries happen. Situation with Cam Sutton. Somebody has got to be that third corner for the first 8 games because Corey Trice is looking good. So these guys they're in solid position. I've seen people on all the sites complain about Patrick Queen is catching blocks. Patrick Queen is catching blocks. Well, one of his things is first off, it's the preseason. He's not catching blocks. It takes a little bit longer for some players to process when you do have to call the defense. And he has the green dot. They may change that, they may not. But if it comes to a situation where his productivity is not where they feel it should be, Landon Roberts will be calling that defense because he had a great preseason. This defense will not be the Steelers' issue. So what you got to watch this season, going into this season, here are my concerns. What is this offense really going to do? None of us knows because so much of it is new. So we have no idea. We know we have 2 quarterbacks. And I think the main reason they're starting Russell Wilson is simply because it's easier to replace the veteran with the younger guy. I know Fields is going into his 4th year. I understand that. I know you could consider him a veteran, but he's not the veteran that Russell is. It's if you go from Fields to Wilson, Fields is done. There's no going back. If you go from Wilson to Fields, Wilson, if he accepts that demotion, can always mentor Fields. That's the reason, amongst the other things that I mentioned earlier, as to why you'll see Russell Wilson go out there week 1 starter. And he's not going to be as dynamic. But I think Tomlin is looking at the next 10 years for the Steelers because that's not Russell. That's Fields. Fields, give him a year, maybe even 2, and you bring Fields on and let the young man go do his thing. The guy has a ton of yards rushing, even though he's a quarterback. If they can calm him down in the pocket, he can reduce his turnovers. He's your quarterback for the next 10, 12 years. And that's what you want. I've always said, and I believe I've said on this show, Green Bay had it right. They had Brett Favre. They drafted Aaron Rodgers, and he sat for 3 years. They had Rodgers. They drafted Jordan Love. And everybody screamed and hollered. Does it look wrong now? That's why I also believe in what the Atlanta Falcons did by taking Michael Penix Jr. They did not plan to play him. That last thing they want to do is play him. And I think Pittsburgh went the same route with picking up Wilson to play a year while Fields learns what Pittsburgh wants to do. And I think that's why they paired him right with Arthur Smith because he wants to play the RPO. It's a perfect mix. It is going to be an interesting season. The Browns seem to be falling off, losing Denzel Ward, and you hate to see that. You don't want to see anybody get hurt, but this concussion issue may become an issue for him. Young man, if I can give you some advice, if concussions are that bad, please leave. You got your money. Please leave. It's just a game. But they also don't have a quarterback. They kept 4 quarterbacks. You play 1. You don't sub those in and out. They kept 4. And the reason they kept 4 is because they're not sure what Deshaun Watson is going to do. Shoulder hurts. So the real threats in the division are clearly the Ravens by picking up Derrick Henry and the Bengals having, Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. And I'm going to tell you why, even though this goes against what I've said in past shows about the Bengals not being physically tough enough. And I still stand by that. They're going to have to stand up defensively and stop these teams that want to run the ball. But what they have on their side, and if you're a true football fan, you'll know this, they have two guys playing for contracts. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. T. Higgins is on the franchise tag. Jamar Chase is about to go into his last year. They are playing for money. When you get guys playing for money, it is a dangerous situation if you're the opponent because you get the best of those guys. No doubt about it. And Burrow is just a dog. He's just a dog. If y'all want to trade him to Pittsburgh, we'll take him. We'll give you, we cut Quez Watkins, but we'd have gave you Quez Watkins. All you do is ask. We'd have gave you that for Burrow. And two quarterbacks. You want both of them? But nonetheless, it's going to be a real interesting season. With that being said, I'm going to wrap it up here. But we'll come back next week. We're going to have a preview of the Atlanta game. We'll have a nice breakdown for you. Get everything together. We'll get our coach, quarterback, team leader, Corey, back with us. And as always, we miss Corey. We thank our producer, Nathan. And that's 6 Rings and Counting for this week. Everybody have a great day.